वो ये कि आपने मुझे तासुर ये दिया था कि ये चूँकि किताब इंग्लिश में लिखी गई है, इसलिए आपके जो तकारीर या तबसरे होंगे वो इंग्लिश में होंगे, लेकिन चूँकि आपने अभी उर्दू में शुरू किया है तो मैं उसका क्या करूं जो मैंने तैयारी की थी इसकी।
आप किसी ज़बान में,
लेकिन मेरा ख्याल ये है कि बात ये भी लगता है इंग्लिश बोलते हुए जैसे झूठ बोल रहे हैं। तो मैं अपना ऐसा करता हूँ कि क्योंकि कुछ पॉइंट्स ही थे जिनमें मैं बात करना चाहता था, तो इंग्लिश को तो बाहर आप रखें फिलहाल, और मैं उर्दू ही में वो चंद बातें आपसे कर लेता हूँ जिसके लिए मैं डॉक्टर सुहेल ज़ुबैरी साहब को ख़ास तौर पर मुखातिब करके ये बातें करना चाहता था। तो पहली बात तो ये है कि शुक्रिया आपने मुकर्रीन को उनकी औकात में रखा, और ख़ास तौर पर ये कि जब मुकर्रीन ख़त्म हो जाएंगे तो let us hope कि it is a figure of speech and you don't have any physical intention about it. दूसरी बात ये है कि ये जो किताब आपने लिखी है ज़ुबैरी साहब, कहते हैं कि sequel is never equal to the original. But the fact is that in this case, when I read your book, I found the sequel not only being as fascinating as the first volume, but surpassing the first volume in terms of variety of subjects and in terms of the materiality of the subject. I will be very brief today. I'll just touch upon some basic points. And one of them is there's an age-old debate. और वो मेरे ख्याल में अमीर जाफरी ज़्यादा अप्रिशिएट कर सकेंगे उसको, कि आर्ट बराए आर्ट या आर्ट बराए मकसद। तो इसमें I am one of those people who are definitely on the side of purpose. And I was so glad to see that Dr. Zubairi has written in this book, whatever he has written, there is always an undercurrent that this is something useful, this is something you can apply to your life, this is something that if you are looking for a purpose of your life, this may actually help you determine that purpose. तो ये जो इनका है कि बराए मकसदियत, there is some usefulness to this book. And the usefulness is that you, those of you who are asking the question, how can I determine the purpose of my life? There are hints and essays, and we'll talk about it in some, not in detail, in a very brief way, which can actually help you realize that goal. So there is a sense of purpose in that book. This is also, Dr. Zubairi has addressed so many questions. और मैं आपको actually I like to engage you and ask by asking you कि कितने लोगों ने हमें बचपन में अपने पेरेंट्स से, अपने टीचर्स से ये सवाल किया कि ये चीज़ें दुनिया किसने बनाई है, और सबको जवाब मिला कि बेटे ये अल्लाह ने बनाई है। और अगर आपने गुस्ताखी की कि अगर सब चीज़ें कोई ना कोई बनाता है तो उस अल्लाह को किसने बनाया, तो आपको एक डांट के you just want to shut up and accept fact as they are taught to you. In Dr. Zubairi's book, there are some themes. Khalid Suhail and Dr. Zubairi has maintained those themes, and one of those themes is that reason and rationality should be the judge of no matter what you do. Ask yourself the question, does it measure up on that scale of rationality and reason? If it is not, then it is not worthy of your acceptance, because you have to live your life as you understand it, as you feel, you're convinced that life should be lived, not because somebody has told you. There is another thing I wanted to just mention. Dr. Zubairi makes an exception to this, and that exception is in the area of love. love is the only thing where Dr. Zubairi says that rationality can take a back seat. Because love is something that does not recognize. अक्ल है महवे तमाशा है लबे बाम अभी तो और ये आपने सुना ही होगा इकबाल का बड़ा मशहूर एक है कि मकाम अक्ल से आसान गुजर गया इकबाल मकाम शौक में खोया गया वो फरजाना I also it will be amiss if I do not mention Dr. Khalid Suhail's contribution to this, because he has a signature way of writing. कुछ तो उन्होंने अभी इकबाल जुर्म आपके सामने भी किया कि ये जरा शरारत भी करते रहते हैं और इस शरारत में कुछ लिख भी जाते हैं और लोग इनको बड़ी संजीदगी से लेते हैं. तो इसमें मगर मैंने ये वाहिद किताब है डॉक्टर खालिद सुहेल की जो देखी जिसमें इन्होंने he has not even alluded to his signature sexual innuendos that he always includes. यानी इन्होंने ये भी नहीं कहा कि I midwife this book. ना ही इन्होंने जिक्र किया कि किसी में कोई मिसकैरेज हो गया है क्या हुआ तो बल्कि और तो मैं मशवरा ये दूंगा खालिद सुहेल को कि ठीक है संजीदगी की बात संजीदगी से होनी चाहिए लेकिन जो आपका एक सिग्नेचर स्टाइल है उसको कॉम्प्रोमाइज ना करें क्योंकि दैट इज वेरी एंडियरिंग टू अस व्हेन वी रीड दैट और बल्कि इसमें अगर आपकी इजाजत हो ये आई एम नॉट कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग एनी कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी आई एम नॉट बिट्रेइंग हिज कॉन्फिडेंस दिस इज अ मैटर ऑफ कैनेडियन जुडिशियल रिकॉर्ड्स जिसमें खालिद सुहेल का ये सिग्नेचर स्टाइल जो है वो मौजूद है अगर आप इजाजत दें तो मैं शेयर कर दूं
बदनाम जो होंगे तो क्या नाम ना भूल
खालिद सुहेल को एक मर्तबा एक एक्सपर्ट विटनेस के तौर पर एक अदालत में बुलाया गया वहाँ पर जज साहब ने खालिद सुहेल से जो वाइटल स्टैटिस्टिक्स होते हैं जे एज नेम एड्रेस एंड आर यू मैरिड जिसके जवाब में इन्होंने कहा नहीं आई एम नॉट तो फिर उन्होंने पूछा अच्छा ये बताइए आपके बच्चे कितने हैं तो खालिद सुहेल ने कहा नॉट दैट आई नो ऑफ तो ये आपका बड़ा एंडियरिंग स्टाइल है इसमें इसको
वाला क्या क्या है
इसको आप इसका मेंटेन ही रखिए लेकिन
लुत्फ आ गया यकीन कीजिए लुत्फ आ गया
coming on a serious note there is Dr. Zubairi has departed from his insistence that everything should be rational and reasonable only with the exception of that love because he says that no one not even the most professional scientist can reach the pinnacle of their profession without the element of love in it और फिर इन्होंने मिसाल जिस चीज़ पर ये काम कर रहे हैं वो काम इतना अहम है हम अब बात जब करते हैं इंटरनेट से पहले की दुनिया और इस दुनिया में लगता है जैसे कोई कदर मुश्तरक नहीं है स्मार्टफोन आने के बाद दुनिया ऐसे बदली है कि अब हम तसव्वुर भी नहीं कर सकते कि किसी ज़माने में स्मार्टफोन नहीं होता था लेकिन जो काम ये कर रहे हैं मैं उसकी सिर्फ दो मिसालें दूंगा एक तो ये कि इनकी थ्योरी है दैट while space is flexible movement but the time moves only in one direction and that direction is from past to present to future अब जो काम इस पर हो रहा है that is so mind boggling that one day it may be possible that you can actually retrieve that time that has passed. Can you imagine a time when you could actually see Prophet Muhammad's time, Jesus Christ's time, Abraham's time? Was it Ishmael who was lying down and Ibrahim slaughtering them both? Or was it Isaac? If you can go back, how this whole world will change. We can't even imagine that a time travel is possible at this time. लेकिन इससे पहले जैसे इन्होंने मिसालें दी हैं वो 500 years ago, that SC man, 16th century man, who was killed because he was thinking, okay, one day there'll be people who'll be carrying a little box in their hands and they'll be able to see people who are thousands of miles away on that little box. अब आप सबके हाथों में और जेबों में वो छोटा सा स्मार्टफोन है, and now it is a reality. So these things could become a reality one of these days. And then another thing is, he talks about revival of Islamic culture, Islamic civilization, Islamic greatness, which in some ways actually surprised me that he was so serious and so optimistic about it, because he forgets that the message that he is giving to the Muslim world, particularly people in Pakistan, his own experience in Pakistan has shown that they do not only have a receptive mind, उसके तो mind का होना भी लाज़मी है, लेकिन they don't even have receptive ears that they can listen to this message. If we look at the respect that they have shown to Dr. Abdul Salam, I doubt very much that they will be open to the revival of Islamic greatness that at one time, frankly, when Europe was दौर जाहिलिया से गुजर रहा था, उस वक्त तो civilization इतनी अजीम civilization थी, लेकिन खैर we can keep our fingers crossed. He also talks about, and that area fascinated me, in terms of time, and in terms of going back in time, and in terms of all seeing. Okay, is there something that can see? He mentions Chashme Yazda. Now that Chashme Yazda is a fascinating thing, that there is at some point some force, some power, you can call it anything you want to, who can actually access that time, which we call future. And it can be seen, so he calls that future as not only determining, but also deterministic and already predetermined, which is a fascinating subject that he has covered. And I think I would really implore you that if you haven't read the book, by all means, I think they are on Amazon. You must order those books and read them, because they're just mind-boggling. And I'll just share a couple of takeaways from his book. One of the takeaways is, how often have we tried to answer this question, what is right, what is wrong? मैं ठीक काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं गलत काम कर रहा हूँ, इसका मेयार क्या है? And in a very simple way, he came up with a takeaway in that book, that if you are ashamed or if you are embarrassed to talk about your intended act, then that is not for you. Then you are going on a wrong path. फिर वो सिरात मुस्तकीम नहीं है. और अगर आपने सिरात मुस्तकीम पर चलना है, तो the criteria is, do what you really want to do and accept only that inner voice, which is a divine voice actually, which is in everybody. And I'll actually I don't want to take more than 10 minutes, I want to conclude it on this, that he is a scientist, but he is also a philosopher in the tradition of Iqbal. So when he talks about God, on the one hand, he defies the logic that we have been hearing. Khalid Suhail, for example, in his case, it is absolutely, he's convinced that God does not exist. There is no two ways about it. But Dr. Suhail, he does not patronize people who may have faith, who may have belief in something that they have never seen, in something they can never prove. almost like they have a need. If God was not there, they would even have created one. Just because there's a need to create, there's a need to worship, there is need even to destroy that, as Iqbal has said, وَلَكِنْ سَرْگُزَشْتَمْ إِنْدُ حَرْفَسْ. Just 2 words for my entire story, and the 2 words are Tarashidam, Parastidam, Shikastam. Thank you.